Hey, it's Shaggy, back again to embrace all things American and dumb. Because face it, we're all a little crazy to do some of the things we do as a society. Now, case in point is today's tale of the Fremont Unified School District and its decision to ban a textbook. The backstory on this one's pretty innocent at first. School book publisher McGraw-Hill decided to do their routine update and expansion of their textbook lines. This is where they add in information missing from last year's curriculum and expand in some areas that were brought up, each year by teachers, parents, and administrators in education. Well, one of those books, entitled Your Health Today, which coincidentally was approved for use just back in June, is a 9th grade level health and fitness textbook. Well, yesterday it was announced that this book was being pulled from schools everywhere along the district for being pornographic. Now, you see, America is extremely biased against any education that steers away from a traditional values-centric approach and talks candidly about the subjects like sex to anyone under 18. You can think of our adult life as kind of like the Archie comic books, really. Well, even though the textbook in question does describe certain racy subjects, let's read one, huh? Like, what is an erotic touch? Well, let's look at their definition, and you tell me, is this pornographic or is this education? Your Health Today defines erotic touch to 9th graders as, quote, erotic touch is a sensual form of communication that can elicit feelings of tenderness and affection as well as sexual feelings. It is an important part of foreplay, touching that increases sexual arousal and precedes sexual intercourse, and so on and so on. The important thing to note here is, ladies, this one statement reinforces your argument that men in America are lacking, that being touched in certain ways shows care and concern and is more likely to lead to a happier and healthier adult life, knowing how important it is to reinforce that value of physical communication. Now, before you protest and say that these are some pretty heavy things to subject school kids to, keep in mind that for years and years and years, educators who deal with your kids on a weekly basis weren't even allowed to talk about sex education in classes like biology. And that's a field of science that deals with biological life. Look, as hard as it is for America to accept, at the end of the day, we're biological, a binary species that produces, dare I say, sexually between two genders. Now, don't get me wrong here. There is some concern when you find out that Your Health Today also features a section on bondage, and they have illustrations of, shall we say, various naughty bits in reference to different stages of physical arousal. Is that high here? Not really, but according to one mother who took it upon herself to actually read the textbook in question, and I quote here, I was expecting to see explicit pictures, expecting controversial information, and I didn't find that in the book. The parent told the San Jose Mercury News, yes, there is a section on sexual health, but the pictures are drawings of anatomy and would be the very same thing that they were exposed to in elementary and middle school. I don't see anything that would be categorized as pornography, and that's what some of the parents are saying. Now, speaking of that, America is also one of the few Western civilized countries that doesn't trust this kind of information to medical professionals. Seriously, in Norway, where they enjoy one of the lowest teen pregnancy rates in the world, they have their nurses pair up with teachers and start educating children about the nature of human sexuality at around age 5. Now, in America, the same guy who teaches you driver's ed and coaches you in sports is the most qualified person, in our opinion, to share the nuances of human sexuality. Does anyone think that this is not as trustworthy as this? Exactly. Now, you would think at the end of the day, America would be smart enough to realize we have a genuine problem in comparison when even one of our closest allies in Europe, France, starts educating kids about sex as soon as they start school and continue that education through their high school years. But no, we instead retreat into some sort of cultural nostalgia and deem open and honest attempts at arming our younger civilians to be too adult, as some 2,300 signers of a petition to ban Your Health Today said. Now, the Fremont School District isn't alone, as many school districts have experienced controversy time to time whenever they attempt to expose children to actual education that may enrich and improve their quality of life later. The problem is, with less and less Americans pursuing college after high school, The window of opportunity to teach kids important things about their own body disappears. And thus the reason we have a TV show called I Didn't Know I Was Pregnant. Look, sometimes these dumb segments write themselves. Sadly, comprehensive sex education materials don't. Instead, we ban it in fear that teaching future adults adult-like things about themselves will somehow make them worse people. It's pretty dumb when you think about it. Join me next time as we wade out into the darker waters, spear in hand, and hunt for the ever-elusive thing called dumb in America.